Welcome to 3 on the Ones and Twos with your hosts, Tom, Cassie, and James. Just 3 old friends talking about their favorite records. Think of it as the coolest book club for music nerds.
Man, I can't believe this is happening. You know, sometimes you think you're going to do things and they never happen. I get to hang out with 2 of my besties that I've known forever, talking about, well, my favorite thing ever, music, because it's saved me and changed me and rearranged me a million times. So you and I met in probably 1994.
Yes.
Well, I'd say maybe right about a year before that, I got to meet one of the most special people in my life, songwriting partner in crime and rhyme and everything beautiful, ups and downs and all around. And I'm so proud to say that we're still doing it, and even doing it more than ever these days, and just killing it, and with a smile on our face and being do-gooders, like loving all the good stuff, hating the right stuff, music in between, writing, listening, dancing. Holy cow, luckiest man alive. Seriously, luckiest man alive. Tell me something different. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, Cassie, boom, boom, boom. Shout out to James.
Shout out to James.
Big shout out to Greg, thank you. Shout out to Brian.
Brian, who introduced us.
Yes, he did. And we are at a secret location in Decatur, Georgia. Ladies and gentlemen, my brother, Mike Shina. Wow! Round of applause.
I need to know, because I never met, I've never known the story of how you guys met, and how, because, so I'm wearing my Rent Boys.
Yes, shout out.
I have a Rent Boys shirt. So I met Mike, and you guys were already starting, like, writing songs for Rent Boys, who were the party band for my 20s. Like, they were a special place in my heart for them. And the first time I met Mike was that time at the warehouse where we were making margaritas.
What?
Oh, I remember that.
Look at these good-looking men.
And
Look at these young bucks.
Oh my
And then
goodness.
you've seen this one.
I have seen that one.
And then
Amazing.
I don't know if you've seen this one, but this one is my favorite.
Oh, I've never seen this one.
Goodness.
That's it right there in a nutshell.
That is
So,
it. Still doing it 30 years later.
That was the first day that I met you, and you guys were already. I hadn't. I don't think you guys had played out as the Rent Boys yet.
Right.
But you were singing and writing songs. So how did you guys meet?
I'm still wearing that Dickie shirt, by the way. So actually, it's funny because I kind of know where Mike's gonna go with this, but that's the beautiful thing about this show, because it's about just energy and life and being organic, and then music. I think how he's going to tell us we met is actually going to tie really well into his record. So this is amazing.
Well, the story of Dexy's Runners and myself.
Yes, let's mention the record.
Yeah. Oh, well, the record is Too-Rye-Ay by Dexy's Midnight Runners. You know, some would wrongly consider them a one-hit wonder. Kevin Rowland, as I'm getting goosebumps under this sweater, is a just one-of-a-kind genius.
Genius, yeah.
Well, but we'll get back to that. So how I met Tom Cheshire, how I met Dexy's Midnight Runners. I moved to Atlanta in 1993. I was playing rugby at the time, standing on the sidelines with the Georgia Renegades and talking to this guy next to me. And that guy was Tal Bayer.
Yeah.
Tal had just moved from...
Shout out Tal.
Yeah, Tal had just moved from D.C. Tal had just left the Pie Tasters, one of our favorite bands. And so we just got started talking, and Tal said, "Hey, you seem to like music. You play an instrument?" I said, "I play guitar." He said, "Hey, we should start a band." I said, "That would be awesome." So Tal says, "I know this guy. He's staying with us." So anyway, so I go to Tal's house, and Tal's living with a bunch of rugby guys. One of my old UMass guys. So anyway, we get there, and walk by the laundry room, there's a mattress on the floor. I'm like, "What's that?" He goes, "Oh, that's Tom. That's Tom's room. Tom rents the laundry room."
It was a good sized laundry room, by the way. It shook a little bit, but it was awesome.
So anyway,
you were there. You went there.
So anyway, one thing leads to another, and Tom, Tal, and I start a proto band. Had a bunch of different names. That band eventually became the Rent Boys. Tal left, and a few other guys came in, Marlo and Dwayne, Mike Bruce, and that was Rent Boys. But going back to Tal, so Tal told me way back in '93, He said, "You really like Dexy's Midnight Runners?" And I said, you know, I mean, I grew up in Boston. I love Irish music. I always loved the Come On Eileen video and song. And
Right.
so I'm like, yeah, whatever, Tal.
And you think it's a one-hit wonder.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's kind of like all you really knew about him.
Yeah, exactly. So years later, I think I was getting those Uncut and Mojo magazines in the mid-2000s.
Yes.
And I guess they reissued all the Dexy stuff sometime in the mid-2000s.
And they turned us onto a lot of good bands
They did.
over the years.
So
yeah.
one of those CDs that used to come with the magazine had Plan B on it, which is a Dexy song off of Too-Rye-Ay. And that is just a great, soul, new wave soul song. Fantastic, and that piqued my interest. So now I was like, wow, that's really good. I never really gave the album a chance, so I decided to listen to the album start to finish, and just blew my mind.
Game changer, life changer.
Blew my mind, and we'll get back to it, I'm sure, a couple of times. But when "Come On Eileen," you hear it as song number 10 on the album. You hear it brand new.
Right. And sometimes, but some releases it came out as song number 1, which is really strange.
It was different because, so it was the first song on the second side for all of the U.S. releases, which is the same one Mike has.
But the thing is I remember Mike telling me this, and he's like, listen to the whole record as a movie, like as a Scorsese film, whatever. And then when you get to the end, and you're absolutely right. You hear "Come On Eileen," it's a completely different song. And it's a great song already, but it's a million times better.
Yeah, it's just so.
Yeah,
so good.
I think, okay, so for the U.S. releases, it is the first on, like, the original U.S. releases. I think since it's been re-released, it's always at the end, like they intended it. For everything other than the original U.S. release, it's at the very end. But for this, it's the first song on the second side, which really makes sense. It encourages American listeners to follow, and it's like they can put that on and get into it instead of listening through the whole thing.
It was probably the most efficient location to put the song to get the most listens to the album.
That's right.
In the U.S., for sure.
And that was a time where people really bought. Now it's completely messed up, but that was a time people bought whole albums, so it makes complete sense. So you develop a relationship with side A. It's a vinyl record. You flip it over, and you're like, what?
This record moved me. So much that I've been so looking forward to doing this. And
yes, you have been.
So you picked this in 2021, and we've been trying to get you on since then. So that's when I got my my original American release, and then in 2022 they released. Now this is how, according to it's how it should have sounded.
Right.
Because Kevin Rowland was not happy with the mix on this, and so then I went and got this one, and the funny thing is, so you've listened and compared. I don't know if it's because I just recently fell in love with this, because I did just.
You actually like that recording better.
I mean, there's things about it that I do. Yeah, I understand. Like on things like okay, so on Jackie Wilson said, I appreciate the punchiness that this one brings that wasn't on the original. But on things like All in All, which is probably my favorite song, it's more mournful and there's something more somber and bittersweet about it in the not as punchy way. So I think, yes, I will say that I love, but it might also be because I'm biased, because I fell in love, and you kind of like, you're attached to what you fell in love with, and you're maybe not as open to.
Yeah, just because he wrote it doesn't mean he knows exactly how it should be sounding. Like the listener, right?
Right, like a listener. I mean, and I think that's kind of the thing about art, right? Once you make it the way you, but then you release it to the world, and then it becomes special to those people, and they kind of have a say then too.
Yes.
Like
that's what was kind of so cool to distract for a moment about that, but just having open sourced kind of what somebody got leaked the Beatles, like Sgt. Pepper's tracks, and there was all sorts of remixes in it. It was just, or even like the Beatles' Love. That's but that's another discussion.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But so they also released this box set. So I think we're gonna unbox it now.
Yes, that's so amazing.
Because
I've been waiting for this.
I looked for I thought about getting this when I didn't realize that you could get just the freestanding remix album, and
I love it.
I didn't. I went for this, so I'm really excited about seeing all this. This has a
got.
lot of live performances on it.
It does.
I love the stuff we do on this show, everybody.
Yeah. Let's open up this little treasure trove.
Oh my goodness!
See what we
There you
got
go.
here. All right.
Wow.
Well, that's a classy sign right there.
It's like an old yearbook. Ooh, beautiful, man.
You want to see what's in there?
Beautiful.
So Cassie asked me, why did I buy the album when I already had the album?
Yeah,
So
because
we'll
it is
see.
in
It's
there.
because of this.
Everything's
Well, it's
different.
because you're such a fan. You know,
Look at this.
Oh,
Oh
look at
man,
that.
we'll have to
Okay,
delve into
yeah.
that in a little bit. So that's pretty
Amazing,
cool.
amazing.
All right, here's the re-release that me and Cassie both bought, and this vinyl better not be green.
Okay, so they have like
see,
the...
that's why I bought the other one.
That's
Cassie.
right.
Oh, because
Green
yes,
vinyl.
Yeah, because the one that we both got
Yeah.
is like it's a clear green vinyl.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Very cool.
But you know what? One of the other things that's really great about this is he had Helen O'Hara come back, and actually because he respected her ear, she was really new to the band,
Right.
when they recorded this. But he had gotten to really appreciate. She had a good ear, and she was very, very honest. So he brought her back and took her. This is awesome.
This
And
is
two
so
and
cool.
2 live albums. From
Yeah, and
before.
what year did they change it from Dexy's Midnight Runners to Kevin Rowland and Dexys?
I think right about this time.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure how it all worked. Let's go
I
look.
mean,
Yeah,
they
I'm
did
not
that with
really
Iggy and the
sure either.
Stooges.
Well,
They
okay,
did
no,
it.
well,
They almost
okay,
did it with
so
Jim Morrison and the Doors.
First,
I mean,
the
it happened.
first Dexy, the original Dexys was with Al Archer.
Al Archer, that's right.
And Al Archer, and they ended up splitting. Kevin Rowland was very. I mean, he was an artist.
it's on
So
the
he-
original. It's on the original.
Is it?
Yeah, Kevin Rowland.
So he.
Oh, wow, so,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's on the original, and I think that this is because it's their second. It's the second album, and Al Archer had left.
It's a
and
new
he-
band.
They all left. So this
They
is
all pretty much left.
This is really interesting. So you got to
Yes.
give Kevin Rowland had a vision.
He did.
So Kevin Rowland, the first Dexys album sounds nothing like Too-Rye-Ay.
Right. It
actually,
doesn't have strings really.
there's no strings. It's a soul Hammond organ,
beautiful
bass,
record.
guitar, horns.
Greg loves it.
It's a great
I
album.
love it.
A lot of
Yeah,
people
yeah.
a lot of people love this album. This was the album that Tal was referring
It's
to.
a lot of people's favorite records.
A lot of
yes.
people's favorite Dexys record.
Again, shout out
huge,
Tal.
huge
Yeah.
everywhere else but in the United States.
It
So-
wasn't. It was not promoted. It was not promoted in the U.S. at all. I don't even know
Right.
that they had distribution here for that
They,
album.
they may not. So what happened was, so he's got this crack soul band, and they did a bunch of shows, and actually he can segue into this album quite well because a lot of these songs that would have been their second album really are on this. So they were playing live. They were playing Plan B, Liars
Yeah.
A to E, and Let's Make This Precious.
Right.
All
But you know how they were doing that though? Okay, so what I found interesting was they had these songs, and Kevin Rowland he had a sound in mind he wanted to do, but he could not figure out how to make the strings work. Al Archer had started a band called Blue Ox Babes, and he loaned the demos to Kevin Rowland
To figure it out,
And Kevin
yeah.
Rowland, he admitted this at one point. He admitted that he nicked the sound because he loved the way, and he actually stole Helen O'Hara.
And, well, he stole Helen O'Hara. He stole Billy, his songwriting partner, or Billy. So what happened? So basically, the soul band left,
Right.
and what it leaves you with is just Kevin Rowland. Everyone's gone from the first band by the time this is released, and this guy here, Billy Adams.
Well, Big Jim.
Sorry,
Patterson.
Big Jim.
Yeah,
Big Jim Patterson was still there. So Billy, this is from that band you were just talking about, Billy.
Mm-hmm.
So he nicked him, and he was with him for the next for the last.
Oh, he did.
Dexys.
Yeah, he did. He did nick
Yeah.
him too. And
So there's Billy and there's
yes,
Helen on the
yeah.
third album.
Amazing.
And that's Billy.
Billy Adams.
Billy Adams.
Billy
And
Adams.
Billy Adams then, I think he stayed with him for the rest of the time, I
Yeah,
believe.
for the rest of the duration of Dexys
duration.
part one.
Until I think they broke up in 87, 85, 87.
Somewhere in there,
Yeah.
not quite
And then
sure.
I don't know if he's been back on. I don't think
He
he's
has
been
not,
on
but
the new stuff.
Peter has from what's his name? Pete Saunders has.
Okay.
So Pete Saunders plays with him now in Dexys.
Okay. Well, what I thought was interesting was that he listened to Al Archer's demo tapes for Blue Ox Babe, and
Yeah.
he really liked the string sound, and it was what he was looking for. So he did use that sound, on this, and it kind of it made their sound. So he went through this phase where he felt really guilty, and he started then giving part of the royalties to
wow.
Al Archer, but
Oh, wow.
you know, but he was really down on himself, and he was actually saying, "Yeah, I just stole it and whatever." And then later, he's come to realize he's just like, he was being too hard on himself because he was
Yeah.
still his creative genius that put it
Totally,
together,
totally.
which is incredible because the way he seamlessly puts the different influences
Sure.
and the background, that could easily go wrong. It could easily
Totally.
sound campy.
Well, it did on some of the solo albums.
well, yeah.
Did it really?
Well, and to be fair, so if we delve into this album, it's funny because we don't. Unfortunately, I couldn't find my 12-inch single of "Let's Get This Straight from the Start,"
Which is
that
one of
song
the best songs
is one of the
ever
best.
written.
Yeah,
ever
that song
written.
is fantastic.
And which is that off an album or is it just
It was a single, I think, that preceded this.
Okay.
It's in the box set. "Let's Get This Straight from the Start" is probably one of the best Dexy songs.
I think
if not
actually
the
they
best.
put out a 45 of. It was like, let's get this straight from the start, and the B-side might have been "Let's Make This Precious." Like, you
Well,
know,
actually, it depends where they were.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so now we get into Kevin Rowland, and this is, it's a question of why the record.
complicated dude.
Complicated
Yes.
dude. Why didn't it make it in in the United States as much? I mean, obviously come on Eileen, but I think it starts with Celtic Soul Brothers. It's an acquired, much like this Guinness I'm drinking as a
Yes.
young lad, an acquired taste, shall we
Right.
say?
Right.
First
Yeah.
taste
Yeah.
is.
Hey, we're gonna see you guys. Basically, happy St. Patrick's Day, by the way.
I love Celtic Soul, and that was a single. That was a
Correct.
single off this,
and,
right?
so here's, I think, what happened. I have no idea. So
This is your idea,
This
your
is
guess.
this is my take on things. So this is the Dexy's Midnight Runners AOR sampler. That's adult-oriented radio. So this is what they sent to the FM radio stations in whatever, 81 or 82 or whenever it came out. So Celtic Soul Brothers, Let's Make This Precious, all in all. So my guesstimate
I see it.
is, given
Can
the
I touch it? Can I
yeah,
touch it?
yeah, you can touch it. I'm gonna read from the back in a minute.
Yes.
So my guess is that based on the popularity of Come On Eileen and the whole Celtic thing they were doing, the whole Irish street band troubadour thing they were doing, I'm guessing that they thought that maybe Celtic Soul Brothers.
Yeah.
But
They
would have
picked the wrong
Wait,
thing.
well,
picked
what's
the
really
yeah,
interesting
yeah.
about because when I first put this on, Greg loves their first album.
Yeah.
And when I put this on, the first thing Greg noticed was he's like, did they ditch the horns for this album? Because they had the horns in
Right.
the first one, but not strings, and this one uses the
Yeah.
strings.
Right.
And Celtic Soul Brothers apparently is like the phrase that he used for him and Big Jim, because
Right.
Big
Totally.
Jim. Yeah, so
That
it-
was people refer to them as that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
And so, but to get back to this, but Let's Make This Precious, that's straight up first album Dexys. I wouldn't
Yeah.
be even surprised if it's the same players.
He
on
may have written it at that
So
time.
this one they put strings in towards the end.
Uh-huh.
But it's a soul song. All in all, definitely Celtic Soul Brothers come. This is what this is the
What I think is
realization.
interesting about Let's Make This Precious is now there aren't any songs on this that were on the first album, right?
No, but they were songs that the first album band was playing live.
Okay, well, no,
prior to
I only
release
asked that
this.
just because Greg, there was like one that Greg was like, is this on the first album too? Because it sounded a lot like
Yeah.
it. But the interesting thing about Let's Make It Precious, when I was listening to it and
So
listening to
good.
the lyrics, is you could see that was his vision for that
Sure,
album.
100%.
Like it was like he was just saying, let's do this and let's do that,
Yep.
and we're gonna this,
Yep.
and it's so incredible,
It
it's
is.
so moving.
I mean, vocally, there's so much going on. It's like breathing in and breathing out and leading everything.
Right.
It's insanely.
Oh, it's
impressive.
all stream of consciousness
it's
too,
un-
and
yeah.
and you think it's like, because when you listen to some of the live stuff, it's kind of like that's what he's doing. He
Yeah.
knows exactly what he's doing.
Totally.
I definitely want to get back to you because I'm so fascinated with what he wrote. But I do want to say that part of part of it that makes it for me is that it doesn't end up campy, but like the theatrics. I thought Roxy music when I heard part of it, just because the theatrical, it's
Right.
big. And you could tell just from so he had everybody in the first album dress a certain way.
Correct.
And then this one,
Yeah.
he had everybody
Like
dress
that.
a certain
Correct.
way.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
he almost saw it like it was each.
He's a leader in fashion. Let me tell you something.
mean,
That guy.
he-
Even now, if you look at the Dexy
But-
album covers, that guy is all
But
style.
I don't think it's
Yeah.
just that. Definitely that, but not just that. That it's like that he's not just a musician or a singer or a songwriter.
Right.
That he is like the complete package. Like
Correct.
he is a performer
Sure.
that creates the full
Without a doubt.
package
Yeah.
Yeah.
and has everybody on
A visionary.
board.
A visionary.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean-
yeah.
Visionary,
it's- I mean,
and then I hear Tom Jones and Elvis.
Oh, yeah.
well, I think-
like unbelievable
I-
what he does with his voice.
listen to this and I could cry talking about how much I love it.
His voice is
and that
fantastic.
part, there's the part in All in All.
All in All is
when they
phenomenal.
have that part where he holds that note on good and it bleeds into the violin, I break down.
Yeah.
That is probably one of the most beautiful, well thought out.
Such a beautiful song.
Yes, but
and the instrumentation, everything about it.
But that one part makes you go back and realize that how much thought went into every single thing like that, because that was so well thought out.
Right.
It's just incredible.
So like some things haven't maybe aged, like some of the things he's doing in the background, you know.
See, I never noticed that.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that.
But the music is just timeless. All in
and
all,
lyrics, and it's emoting. You know, I mean, it's really beautiful.
So if you run through the album, so you get Celtic Soul Brothers, which is something that it grows on you, and it's
an acquired taste. I love it.
It's an acquired taste, but I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But they totally thought something different.
Correct.
You know, it's like, you know.
Then let's make this precious. You've got straight up
100%.
old school Dexys, soul song, also declaration of what we're doing, right?
Right.
And it says, the pledge is taken, all else forsaken, trust all to instinct, put on those blue dungarees, hit that bell, that's what makes it beautiful, put on those dungarees. I mean, yeah, this is it. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
All in all,
All
is
in all.
just, and one thing Tom and I have learned as we actually do a St. Patrick's Day show every year, and we will be playing
Tomorrow
Astoria.
night at Boggs, the next day at
like the
Astoria,
actual
the old
tomorrow
West
night
End
of when
crew.
this comes out.
Tomorrow
It's
night
the
at
17th.
Boggs, Saturday night at Astoria with our old mates, Sean McClellan and crew,
Yep.
old West End crew. Yeah, come on out.
So, but all in all, as we've learned, a lot of those older Irish songs are waltzes, which we have totally learned recently.
Yeah, we've learned that
and
lot.
So this one last wild waltz, all in all, amazing. And then Jackie Wilson said, it's a Van Morrison song.
And it's an incredible cover of it. I mean, that is amazing.
Absolutely. And that's the old band right there. That's the original sound.
Because they were doing Jackie Wilson on tour 2 years before this.
Correct. Yeah. But it's also a shout out to Van Morrison. Because I mean, if you want to talk about freaking Irish artists.
Right.
Totally.
And it should be mentioned that even though they're from Birmingham, Kevin Rowland, like his family, his parents are from County Mayo. And he lived there.
Yes. And then Old, another absolutely stunningly beautiful song.
Yes.
And that is just a gorgeous, gorgeous song. So,
unbelievable.
You know, I think what you have is the Dexys that is original to this vision, which is kind of the Celtic, troubadour type of deal, is Celtic Soul Brothers, all in all, Old. So now this is the U.S. version, but I think we really need to go talk about the re-released version, because if you're listening to it for the first time, and listen to it please with fresh ears, put it on, listen to it start to finish. Now you got to Plan B, which the old Dexys was doing. I'm not sure, no horns on that. That's a straight up first Dexys Mark I song. I'll show you. That's his new vision. That's probably Billy Adams. Liars A to E, the old band was doing. What a beautiful song. Bad Habits.
Oh, I know what it is.
You should sleep alone.
On the U.S., it's Plan B. It's like Plan B and I'll Show You are pretty much like they listed as the same. And on this one, they're separated. And I was like, this doesn't look at all like this, but yeah.
And to me, I think the real journey is Until I Believe in My Soul. Because getting back to Van Morrison, yes, I know.
So good.
So getting back to Van Morrison used to cover the Donny Hathaway song, I Believe in My Soul.
Oh.
And that's a beautiful song, and Van's been doing it forever. But this song right here, I mean, if you want to talk about probably the most powerful song on the album.
It's incredible.
It's absolutely incredible. And it's just, I mean, it is so emotive and just so beautiful.
Yeah.
And just so, I mean, it's got a jazz interlude.
Everything.
It's just everything.
It's like, I think that's what part of what made me think of Roxy Music was more that like there's a lot of, they don't go by the conventional song structures where it's just like this, like he's just throwing in a lot of different, it's so creative. And then, until you get to Until I Believe in My Soul, which I really do like it. I like the US version where it closes it out. Because to me, it's just such a powerful ending.
No, I would not argue with that. It's probably their most powerful song. And I get it, but I think what it comes down to and what blew my mind the first time I heard it is Come On Eileen at the end, because you hear it as a soul song.
I remember you selling the record.
Okay, yes,
I remember you selling the record to me.
You
didn't have to sell the record to me, but you talked to me on the record. It explained everything. I was like, yeah, you hear it 100% completely different.
Yes.
I mean, the banjos come in, that's great, but it's that bass line, the drums, the horns. It's a soul song, and it is.
But one thing I love. Okay, so the keyboardist on their first album, he went on to be one of the co-founders of the Style Council.
Oh,
and
really?
I love like I love the Jam, but I'm not a huge Style Council fan.
They got 3 or 4 good songs.
And
that
one
I
of
love,
one of the reasons is because to me, a lot of times their soul to me sounds a little forced. Like it does.
Well,
it
it's just
doesn't-
keyboards, drums, and guitar.
But right,
on
but
Style
but
Council, yeah.
but for like, there's so much about this album that usually is hit or miss for me. Like the background singers, like you know, and like that can go, the soul background singers. Horns. Greg says that he thinks that that at least that Dexys use the horn section kind of like a ska band, even though they're not ska, but
Right.
they use it like a ska band.
can hear that.
And yeah, but also the 2 co-producers on this, I believe, Kevin Rowland said that they produced or either co-produced like a few of the Madness records.
I believe
that
it,
were really
yeah,
successful.
because they're never consistent. They come in at certain parts where there might have been a guitar solo, and then said there's a trumpet and a saxophone.
I think the best example of that would be, I think it might be I'll Show You,
Right.
where they have the horn section. It really is like it's like highlight. You know, it
Yeah.
sounds like they use them, but also. 2 of the members, and I don't remember if they are on this. They might have been on this. They left. They ended up leaving. I think it might have. They're on this, and they ended up leaving to go join General Public.
Oh, right.
Oh, great band.
Yeah.
And
so
I know
just-
the horn section did a ton of studio. After the horn section from
Oh
the
no,
first.
they like 3 of them, and
Yeah.
I think Big
Yeah.
Jim Paterson, like he also like they formed some just entirely horn band
Yes.
called like TKO or something
Yeah,
like
and
that.
they would be on. They're on a ton of stuff.
They're
though.
probably,
Really?
they're probably on a bunch of stuff that came out like around the time English Beat selected Madness. I mean, it was all around the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all playing festivals
Yeah,
together.
and well,
shows
I mean,
together.
and like you know, General Public and English Beat, pretty
Similar-
much the same.
same
But they're
band,
both
yeah.
from Birmingham, and so
Wow.
Dexys are from Birmingham.
Very
so,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm-
There's a
I'm
lot
They
of-
probably went to high school together.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, like, hey,
seriously,
well,
I'm sure this Mark I version of Dexys was pretty highly influential. That whole scene too. I mean, we're talking about
Totally.
1980, maybe 79.
I mean,
maybe.
listen, I remember being in New York City, 11 years old, 12 years old, and I think 2 of the biggest songs that I remember, and that's pretty cool, were Madness, My House, and Come On Eileen.
Yeah.
Around the same time.
Do you want
So
to
I
hear
mean,
something
like, yeah,
interesting
you know,
that
I mean,
I learned? So 2 things that I learned
our
about
house, our house. Did I
our-
say my house? Our house in the
my
middle
house.
of our house in
Our
the middle of our
house.
street. Yeah. Our
was
house.
so Cyndi Lauper's "Girls Just Want to Have Fun." They had a hard time coming up
Mike
with the
does a
whatever.
really good cover of that, by the way.
But no, the thing is like they were having a hard time coming up with the tempo, and she said, "Can we make it sound like Come On Eileen? Because Come On Eileen is
wow.
not at the same time."
See?
Like, and you can kind of like if you really like you
Cyndi
can
Lauper
hear, like, what they're
approved, man.
doing.
We're big fans.
And the
Tom
other thing
graduated
is,
high school with her.
Siobhan Fahey, I think her name is,
Yep.
from she sang on some later Dexy stuff, some live shows.
Right.
But she sung live. But her sister is Eileen in the Eileen video.
Ah.
So the girl who sings for Bananarama.
Yep.
Yeah.
Her sister is Eileen,
Yeah.
which I thought was
who
interesting.
Andrew Wrigley from Wham married for a
There
while.
you go.
Really?
Andrew Wrigley, go Andrew.
So
So many things change.
I definitely need
so
to
many
go-
things happen.
So we're gonna get back to Dexys.
It's a beautiful letter right here.
This is. I definitely want to hear this.
We're gonna get into the mind of
But
Dexys.
tell everybody because this is also on audio only platforms. I want everybody to be able to know that like Kevin Rowland signed this. How did that happen?
Well, actually, this is actually what Kevin Rowland. This is actually a printed letter to the radio stations.
Really?
So Kevin Rowland didn't want to be pegged as a one-hit wonder or Come On Eileen as he wanted people to listen to the album.
He didn't want to be the
Listen
Come On
to his-
Eileen guy.
Listen, yeah, he wanted to listen. He wanted his statement to be listened to in full. So
Special moment.
special moment. So I'm going to read this to y'all. So it says, "Hello, Kevin Rowland here from Dexys. At present, on the second leg of our American tour, we've put together this 3-track 12-inch for AOR, that's adult-oriented radio, FM radio, to help show more aspects of Dexy's Midnight Runners and the Too-Rye-Ay project, not album, project. Pleased though we obviously are with the success of Come On Eileen, is only 1/10 of our own LP. Therefore, only 1/10 of the statement we're currently attempting to make. It's important to us that a true picture of Dexys as writers and performers should emerge in America, as it has in the rest of the world.
Wow.
Apart from the single, The Celtic Soul Brothers, we've chosen Let's Make This Precious, a personal statement of our intent and ambitions, and all in all, this one last wild waltz, which is for me the best song I've ever been involved in.
Wow.
And is perhaps the most representative of any LP of which I am immensely proud. I hope you enjoy them, Kevin Rowland.
That is incredible. Can
That
I
is
hold this and see
incredible.
this? So where did you
Absolutely.
get this? Because
The beautiful. Actually, I don't know.
you're not going to tell me that this is what you really got. You
Yeah,
paid
yeah.
$2
I got
for
it at
this?
some record store.
He
You know.
paid $2 for this.
Yeah,
I
he
did.
lucked out,
He paid
man.
$2. This is incredible.
got
I don't know. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And I did not. This is incredible because this is all the things that I felt.
Yep.
Yeah.
That and then to have it confirmed.
He read it. He wrote it.
read it.
It was written exactly. He wrote down exactly what he wanted them to perceive it as.
This is
Beautiful.
this is really, really. Oh wow! And now I need to hunt down this.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! It says promotional copy not for sale. You probably can't buy it on Discogs.
Maybe
No,
not.
they block
Yeah,
out.
do
They block
those
things.
out?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
you're not able to even see what they go for. They will not allow sale.
That's amazing.
like
though.
that.
So I think, and listening, it's interesting. So the live album that came out, and you can listen to it on Apple Music or Spotify, that came out with this box set. They've actually released it, and it's really great. And you can hear what's really amazing about how good the band is. I mean, Kevin Rowland is selecting really good musicians. Like
Insane top.
there's no, I mean, I'm guessing he's a pretty demanding guy to work with.
Yes, everything that I've heard.
I mean, I remember when the Commitments came out, the movie.
Yes.
People were like, "Oh
Which
yeah,"
I-
they were like, "That's Dexy."
Which
You know,
this,
like basically.
this is
yeah.
actually, I listened to this and I listened to it a few times and I loved it. And Greg and I sat and watched that one night because I
Yeah,
felt
it's
there
a
was
soul
yeah.
band.
So again, Kevin's fashion has always been a big thing. So their first album, they had that longshoreman look, and it was badass.
Yes,
I mean,
yeah.
They looked great, and they sounded great, crack band. Second album, he goes for that kind of that street gypsy kind of look. The third album, they went to Brooks Brothers.
Yes.
Probably a misfire. I'm
Yeah,
thinking,
totally, yeah,
I'm
totally,
thinking,
yeah.
and unfortunately, even back then, I was a kid in the '80s. I mean, this album's going to turn off a lot. Just the cover alone
exactly, you're
is going
right.
to turn off
Well,
a lot
it's
of
kind
people.
of like his solo
Yeah,
album.
and if it was him wearing leather with spikes around his neck, he might have sold more records.
Well, there
Like,
was an
yeah.
album. He did a solo album then.
My Beauty?
My Beauty,
Yeah, I
where
have
he
that.
was wearing like a dress and like he was trying to like show kind of like the softer side of him, and it was. I think the thing is, and that's true for any artist, right? And even any I believe he is an artistic genius.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Like
Amazing.
I think that anyone who stays true to themselves and puts out things, no matter how good they are,
Yep.
you're going to have misses that just don't hit with with the critics
Or
just,
maybe they're not misses. Maybe it just takes time for everybody to
maybe
catch
it just
up.
takes
I was
time.
going to
Well,
say,
no,
a lot of times you hear
say,
these things, and then 10 years later, you're like, "Oh,
yeah.
now I get it."
Well, when I
yeah.
say misses, I meant misses with the critics or
Sure.
misses with
The
the
fan base,
public.
sure.
I mean, but that's the price of he has incredible integrity, and I thought it took a lot of integrity to go back and credit Al
Totally.
Archer
That's
for how he
huge.
had gotten.
That's
Like,
huge.
yes, I mean, I have so much respect for this person that
I mean, I was that way with a lot of Phil Lynott songs with Thin Lizzy. I was like, I don't see it. And then one day I was like, oh, he's got 20 songs that I wish I wrote.
one of the things about All in All that really just the. I mean, I think everybody has had that the authority in their life that they just felt like they couldn't please.
Sure.
And to me, I listened to this after I'd gotten off the phone call with my mom, and I snot cried. I just fell
Yeah.
apart.
Well,
and
and also
that
you're
music,
thinking about mom's going through. It's rough.
that
it's
music
so
can
rough.
do that, and that this person, I just have so much respect for him.
Yeah, he really he did something really special with this album.
He
Oh,
really
yeah.
did. He made it precious.
Oh,
He
yeah.
totally
He
did.
did.
This album has probably 3 of his best songs on it, or maybe 2 of his best songs. But as an album, as a whole, it's an album. It's a mishmash.
As a whole,
This is a vision.
This is a vision, and it's like you're right. It's like they're like rent boys hanging out on a farm, like the look that they were going for. It's
Yeah.
like totally.
Somehow he
like,
pulled it off too,
yeah.
because that's a sketchy look.
I
And
mean,
they pulled it
but
off.
it's just but all of it was so well thought out, and
It's
you see
so amazing.
pictures, and you have some of them in here where you see pictures of like them on stage around this time, all dressed like that, and you really get that it's like he thought beyond it,
Yes.
beyond just the music.
Correct.
Without
I mean,
doubt.
it was
It's a whole.
It's a
package.
mindset. It's completely
All
a
of
vision.
it.
It's a vision.
All of it.
Yeah. For Kevin, it's
Wow,
a
that's
yeah.
incredible.
And every album is. I mean, there's only 3. The first one, he really knocked it out of the park. That kind of working class,
totally,
tough.
Well, they have
Yeah.
6 now, so they had they have 2 more, and they're working on their 6th.
But there's 3 as this under this kind
Under
of,
this Dexys, under
even though they were
Dexys
different
before
bandmates.
they-
This form of this vision.
because they didn't reform, I think, until like 2003.
Yeah, I've seen the live shows. They're absolutely amazing. I mean, his voice, he doesn't have the range that he used to, but he takes, yeah, it's fabulous. It's
You
really,
know, they
really good.
so they were, once they re-released as Too-Rye-Ay as it should have sounded, they were supposed to do a tour.
Oh.
And I mean, they probably wouldn't come here. I mean, maybe they would.
Maybe New York
I would
and LA.
travel.
I would
Maybe.
travel.
Yeah, I would
They'd
travel.
probably do like
At
New
this
York,
point now,
Chicago, LA,
if we wouldn't, before
Chicago,
I
yeah.
listened to this and before I realized that it's like I'm so sold on this,
Yeah.
I
It's so
know
good.
enough, but I will.
I
will
would-
now.
I would- that's
but,
one I
but
would
go
he
with
had,
you, yeah.
He had, yeah, let's do that, because he had a, I guess he had a car accident, or no, a motorcycle accident, so he wasn't able, they weren't able to do the tour, but they are coming out with a new album that they said is supposed to come out in 2023. They will be touring for that.
Oh, wow.
And then he said that they will then like play like things off of this album also.
So
on that tour.
there is a video. I can't remember which one. I think there's 2 that have come out, but the first reunion of Dexys, it's pretty emotional because they do come on Eileen at the end. He's like, I haven't played the song in 30 years.
Wow.
Because
wow.
I think he ended up probably hating it. You know.
I mean, I'd be bitter about it. I would.
It's a
if everybody
curse.
thought
It's a gift and a
that's-
curse.
If
Yeah.
everybody thought that's what I was about, when I had invested my heart into so much
Right,
more.
right. I'm telling a story and no one's listening to my
Yes,
story.
yes,
Right.
and honestly,
They're
I
only
mean,
listening to chapter 5 or 10.
Come On Eileen is an incredible song. It
Sure,
really
it
is.
is.
But I would say that now after listening to this, it's nowhere near my favorite on any of the others.
It's a beautiful song, and it's in their top 10 maybe, or 15.
I think
but that's-
Liars
yeah.
ADE's got some pretty good lyrics. In it. It's
Liars,
like, yeah.
I love all of these
Yeah.
for different reasons.
Yeah.
I love their version of Jackie
Yep.
Wilson said, incredible, so
Old is
moving.
gorgeous,
I mean,
yeah.
it's just like it's poetry. Like
Yeah.
it's so much.
It is beautiful.
And it's like obviously All in All is my favorite.
Yeah.
But like I could any of these. Let's Make
Yeah.
It Precious,
Yeah.
Count the Soul. I could any of them.
Let's make this precious.
So my dear,
It's
you do
really,
need to
really
listen to the
beautiful.
Waltz on their 3rd album.
I will
It
definitely
is-
be checking that out. But I want to know what your favorites are.
Well, you know, it's funny. It changes all
we
the
kinda-
time. I think it's funny
Yeah.
because I've been playing around with a version of Liars A to E.
Oh wow.
Oh,
cool.
really?
To cover every once in a while, yeah.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but something about the lyrics are really,
I do like that one a
yeah.
lot.
I mean, it's just the whole. Where
It's
is it?
special.
Yeah.
He's really.
Well, it's nobody
really,
tell you. You end up knowing bad habits. You should sleep alone. You know, open to suggestions. That's the way you feel.
Brutal.
Because you're the voice of experience. Every word you choose is sweet stolen info you must never lose until you're so secure in your habitat familiar. It's just a song about, you know, doing the wrong thing.
Yeah,
and
it's
you know you're
beautiful
doing the
and
wrong
brutal,
thing.
and he's owning it.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. From my favorite thing about him is like, is I love when a singer leaves it all out on the floor and on the table, and even if he goes out or if something goes wrong, he knows he did his job.
Yeah.
And he's crying for you. I love how much Mike loved that line. It's like, you know, you should sleep alone. Like now I'm like, I want to listen to that and rewind and listen to it 20
Yes,
times
the
tonight.
lyrics, I mean,
Unreal.
you can listen to it just for the music, but then once you hear I mean, it's just, oh my
And
gosh,
he
that's
is good
another
enough.
incredible layer.
You know, Mike mentioned that thing about his spoken word piece. That's fine, but he is good enough that I would listen to him, and you almost hear him sometimes just sing those words a cappella, and it's beautiful.
I mean, yeah, no, I
And what
absolutely-
an original. Let's take before we go 1 minute for what an original voice.
What
What
original.
What an original voice.
Well, hey, so
Exactly,
so here's
yeah.
something. So the first single that they put out was renamed Dance Dance, but it was originally called Burn It Down.
Yep.
It was
Nice.
put out by the manager of the Clash, who didn't particularly care.
Cosmo Vinyl?
He didn't particularly care. The guy's name?
Oh, you're talking about Bernie
Bernie,
Rhodes.
yeah.
Bernie Rhodes.
Yes,
Helen
Bernie Rhodes.
Lyle did some stuff
But
with them
he,
too.
Bernie
but
Rhodes.
Bernie Rhodes. Yes.
But he criticized Kevin Rowland for his voice.
Oh, stop
no,
it, Bernie.
No. So no. This is before. So Kevin was like, I needed a direction, and so that's when he ended up gaining more of like the emotional like ism.
So he pushed him in a good place.
I mean, in that he didn't end up. Kevin Rowland didn't end up liking the direction of the production of the original single. I thought it was interesting that it was called
That's
originally Burn
amazing.
It
Yeah,
Down.
yeah. I love it. I love that I love that Mike's
I'm glad.
pick.
Yeah, glad I got you on
Yes.
board.
I want to give a
Yes.
shout out again to Greg
Yeah.
for helping out, and I want to give a shout out to our boys from County Hellband, Stiff Penalty,
Yes.
B. Kinch,
But also,
Marlo,
but
Mike
also,
Bruce.
I want to say because we've mentioned Rent Boys, and now
Yeah.
we're mentioning Boys from County Hell. You guys are playing tomorrow, and then also
tomorrow
Saturday.
at Boggs in the West End. Saturday at our good buddy from the West End, Sean McClellan's place.
But you guys also do TCB.
TCB,
so,
man.
Tom Cheshire Band.
Yeah, because we like to take care of business.
Yeah, and also big shout out for Brian Kinchlow, because I wouldn't have met you without him,
Oh, yeah.
and if I wouldn't have met you, I
We've
wouldn't have met
been
you,
playing with
and-
Brian now.
Yeah,
for,
I mean,
Also in TCB.
I met
too.
B. Kinch. Him and his younger brother both have played with Rent Boys, and listen, life to me is too short to like sweat any of the other stuff. So what I try to do with my time is, one, enjoy stuff, be around my best friends, play music or talk about music.
Yeah.
And listen to music.
Yeah.
It's the best thing ever.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for the photos. That's awesome. I will
That is
definitely,
amazing.
you
Look
can
at
have
me
these.
and you, dude.
Awesome, man.
You can have them.
That's
Oh
beautiful.
man, cool collage.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you tomorrow night at Boggs in the West End.